Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the virtual classroom. It's Lisa. I've been assigned to talk about the task-centered model, which I'm thrilled to do because I actually use that therapy model in my agency practice. I do like the task-centered model because it does focus on the problem at hand moving forward and not so much uh, reviewing things that have happened in the past. Um, Obviously, this is not for every client that we're going to see, but for many people it does work, and it is very effective. Um, if you look at my post for week 4, I went into some length on that, so that will be beneficial to coincide with this particular video assignment that I've been assigned. I talk about how there's 4 steps in this model, defining the problem, obviously being the first part of this, the second being establishing the goals, the third working the goals, and the last, which is reviewing the goals. Before bringing the client out and interviewing him, I want to go in a little bit more in depth on those things and talk with you. Defining the problem, in best case scenario, you will have that intake information at hand. So you'll have some idea of what you're walking into and you won't be walking into it blind. My agency, we do our intakes in-house on phone, or somebody else will gather that information ahead of time, just because it can take 1 or 2 appointments right there. Nonetheless, if you're not able to, you will be able to gather this the first time. Defining the problem, though, is just that. You are having that client articulate the problem. This can be done in various ways. You're going to engage in active listening, but don't think that you're just going to sit there and listen. You should be exchanging that conversation with both open-ended questions and closed-ended questions as well. This is going to get the conversation rolling. This is going to give you that ability to build that rapport, which is very necessary in their first couple appointments with that client. And it's going to lead to that next and bigger step, which is establishing the goals and working towards the goals. But in doing so, what you're doing is breaking down those problem areas, which then lead to how are you going to prioritize the problems? Because you are making this connection with that client. You are building a partnership. He or she may very well be skimming around or skirting around the actual issues and not see that the issue itself is there and think that the outside or the extraneous factors aren't really the problem, but they may be. And that's where you come in as that pivotal part. So you need to engage in that active listening and with those questions and just be ready to kind of pull out and say, did I hear you right? If I'm looking, and I've gotten away from the rule of just kind of sitting back and just listening. I do take those notes, not all the time. I'm not pen to paper the whole time, but I do take those notes so that I'm able to recall that information and say, well, here you said this, and call them out on that. So everybody has their own way that they practice, but that's my own particular way. We're going to meet a middle-aged man who has come to the agency with his first DUI. He has other issues that he feels he is facing, and it all recurs around one central theme.